run the risk of dragging the U.S. and China into a nuclear war? Like, would the U.S. be willing to take a hit to Los Angeles or New York for Taiwan?
That's the question. I mean, that's the same question about Japan or South Korea.
Yeah.
The U.S. has a nuclear umbrella of those countries, but if China threatened Los Angeles or San Francisco or Chicago or whatever, is the U.S. willing to lose those cities to protect Seoul or Tokyo?
I've seen more than one think piece written about how the U.S. should not be defending Taiwan because it would lead to nuclear war.
Well, it's the same logic that would probably be, for when China decides to take the Senkakus, that could also start nuclear war, right? Because we're responsible. We've said that if China takes those islands, we will help Japan defend them. So that also could start nuclear World War III. So there's so many cases that you could talk about besides Taiwan that lead you to the same scenario.
What is it going to take for these politician businessmen in the U.S. to be like, we should decouple from China. Let's stop trying to kiss up to them.
Well, it's more problematic than that, because as you know, these rich billionaires and wealthy companies, they also give money to politicians who subscribe to the same framework. So now you have to fight the politicians and the businessmen and the companies and Wall Street and a lot of other folks who benefit from getting rich off of China, or who got rich off of China. It's a big problem. I don't know if you interviewed Peter Schweitzer, who wrote Red Handed, where he lists all the elite in the United States, the political elite, the business elite, a lot of the let's say famous sports figures, how they were all elite captured by China. So we got a lot of work to do, and that's why your program is going to be very popular in the United States, because you stopped World War III.
That's right. Give us $1 on Patreon. We stopped World War III. We deserve it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, it really does feel like there's not, it would take an extreme action from the CCP to even attempt to wake people up. But
a spy balloon's not enough.
COVID wasn't enough.
Well, I was just thinking, yes, I was thinking maybe if the CCP came out and nationalized a bunch of these companies that are in China, but they effectively did that with 3M during COVID. And did we have a response?
And the intelligence law that they passed requires any company to give them any data they want, period. You can't claim intellectual property on anything that's in China. If they want it, they get it. So I really think that so China, Xi Jinping has made lots of mistakes. In August of last year, the launching of missiles against Taiwan and the whole military exercise, it got Japan fired up, and they're doubling their budget for the defense for the next 5 years. It got Korea concerned because of all the missiles being fired by North Korea. So, and then of course the taking of Hong Kong. All these things have woken up some people, and each time they do something like that, they wake up more people. And it's not just people; it's governments and companies. There are a lot of companies leaving China these days. And a lot of people in China are leaving China these days. I mean, Chinese citizens are leaving China. What is it? Last month, they said 10,000 Chinese nationals crossed into our border. So that's a lot of people leaving China.
What do you think? You say Xi Jinping has made a lot of mistakes. Is there a way in which he starts this military operation in August? Could that be a mistake? Could that backfire on him?
Of course. And we need to make sure it does.
So how would that backfire?
So, like you mentioned, he's assuming that we won't escalate. But if we were to escalate, in the sense that we would say, all right, you're doing that. We're gonna send more military to Taiwan and train more military in Taiwan. We're gonna send our fleet near Taiwan. We're conducting exercises. In other words, we could respond either in the military dimension, or we could try to do things that will, let's say, we would work with Japan and South Korea and many countries to make China's action be painful for them. So that's the one way to do that. And if we don't do that, like what happened in Crimea, then we're just encouraging them, like the arguments that you guys made. So we could also do something extreme. In my opinion, not extreme. We could say we could increase our recognition of Taiwan in some way. We could say something like, because you've done this action. If you read the Taiwan Relations Act, it says that if China does something that threatens the peaceful situation in the Taiwan Strait, we have the option to de-recognize China.
Kick China out of the UN?
No. Well, we could kick out their embassy, and we could leave our embassy out of China. Of course, I don't think Blinken would do that, but I'm giving you examples of things we could do. But it's going to take some, as we say in southern part of the United States, cojones, to do this kind of stuff.
Is there a way it could backfire on Xi Jinping without actions from the U.S. that are
like domestically, like within the party, or?
Yes, for example, if Taiwan's forces were able to kill a lot of the invading forces, and those one-child sons come back in body bags, a lot of people will be upset about that, and that would be an internal problem created by his action.
Well, this is very interesting. I guess we'll find out in like 2 weeks when this podcast goes up, which fortunately we will prevent.
You mean 2 weeks from when we publish this?
Yes, it'll be published, and then the word will spread and it'll be stopped.
And, it's like a series, to be continued.
That's true. It could always, at least at the minimum, this is, I think you've laid out a very clear and logical strategy that could be used, even if not at this particular moment. It could be used at any point, and it makes a lot of sense. How do you go after Taiwan? Take one of these small islands that might not bring a response. Well, probably wouldn't bring a huge response from the U.S. Maybe not even from Taiwan itself.
Okay, so I talked to some people here about Protus. They're very emotionally attached to Protus. Okay. It's not something that they. My understanding is that they're going to fight for it.
Well, so it might not even stop at Protus. It might just. If China tries to take it, that could just, like a derailed freight train on the rails going straight to World War III. Taiwan just keeps fighting, and then there's fighting on the mainland, and mainland Taiwan, maybe mainland China, and then the ROC takes back from those filthy communists. But then the U.S. gets involved.
And creates West Taiwan, right?
Yeah. I'm feeling very optimistic about the future now. Thank you.
And we predicted it by creating those West Taiwan posters.
That's right.
Which you can also buy on our website. Links below.
We are the military-industrial complex.
Selling posters.
Selling posters. That's the ticket. Well, thank you so much for joining on the show again and sharing us this.
Chris, this is so overwhelming. You're like...
I'm full of emotion. The ROC will rise again. Chiang Kai-shek will sit on the Peking throne. There are a lot of questions wrong with that. There are a lot of things wrong with that. But yeah, this was fascinating, really interesting to hear. And I'm very excited to hear how people watching will respond to it.
Great. Thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Well, that was, once again, another horrifying interview. Glad you could be back for it.
Yeah, I'm glad I made it back in time for World War III.
Yeah, we'd be ashamed to have missed that.
Yeah, in the pocket dimension... World War III was won by President Kissinger.
Oh, and so now in that pocket dimension, we're headed to World War IV.
Yes. So it's a bad place, let me tell you.
President Kissinger. Oh my gosh. Hey, we don't live in the worst timeline. Congratulations, everyone. I forget how we do this with you.
We go off the rails.
That's right.
And we did that immediately, so
Yeah.
check.
That's right.
We've got to stay on the rails like a freight train.
Yeah,
A
we're like
derailed
derailed
freight train.
Still on the rails, barreling towards a cliff. That they, for some reason, put the rails going to a cliff. Who designs trains anymore?
China.
China. There we go.
Glad to have you back, Shelley.
Glad to have you back.